Good evening. Good evening. Welcome everybody to the Holtz Agency of American Income Life. My name is Kevin Holtz, and I am the agency owner for a lot of territory within the company. We work virtually now, so we got people working in all sorts of different states. But look, I'm really excited to spend a little time with you guys tonight to really just share a little bit more about who we are and what it is that we're looking for. My job's pretty simple. It's really just to try to balance the scales of information, simply because we know a lot more about all of you based on your backgrounds, your skill sets, your resumes, LinkedIn profiles, pretty much anything we could get on you, than you probably know about us. So really, I just want to provide that information to you so you can share it with your loved ones and find out if this could be a viable career option for you or not. So in order to help me do that, I am going to go through some slides with you guys. Some of the things that we'll be covering this evening are listed here. History of American Income Life, our marketing, which is not only, what we do, but how we do what we do. Of course, we'll cover compensation with you, as well as what our leadership career track would look like. And lastly, I'll finish up with the impact that we have on the community, really a lot of our philanthropic work, as well as the expectations that we would have for any selected candidates. Okay, so first and foremost, let me just mention that this is a Zoom webinar versus a Zoom meeting. So obviously you already know that you can hear me, you can see me. I, however, cannot hear you or see you. So from time to time, I might ask you to use that raise hand function, which you're welcome to test out right now, by the way. So I know I got everybody's attention. You know that it's working. There we go. All right, looking good. And then also, from here, the next time if we decide to bring you in for a final interview, it will be a Zoom meeting. So if you guys are in pajamas tonight already, you're okay. I don't know if you are or not, but if we do invite you in for a subsequent interview, we'll be able to see you, hear you, we'll have a conversation together. So you will want to dress up professionally for that part round of the interview. So just giving you a couple little tips in case you make it at that point. But anyways, guys, I'd like to start from the very beginning. I think it's an important place to start. I like to start from the beginning. We were founded back in 1900, Globe Life, which is our parent company, founded back in the year 1900, which is crazy, right? We're talking 123 years ago. They have over $200 billion of in-force premiums. They're also listed on the S&P 500 index. So our stock symbol for Globe Life is GL, or our ticker symbol. So you'll want to plug that into Yahoo Finance or, Fidelity app, whatever it is that you may use for your stocks. Plug that in, it'll give you a really great snapshot of the kind of growth that we've had year over year over year over year as a company. I've owned stock since I started with American Income Life back in 2007. And since then, the stock has split twice. Both times it's gone up past its original value. And we're sitting at that same sort of spot right now where some people are saying they think it could split again, which is always great. Obviously, large companies like Apple and Tesla have done stock splits like that. And typically it's a fantastic sign of tremendous growth that companies are going through. So moving a little past some of Globe Life is a little bit in regards to the marketing of Globe Life. A couple of things that I want to mention. Number one, which is a really cool partnership that we have, is with the Texas Rangers. We have the naming rights for Globe Life Field. It's a 40-year deal that they signed a handful of years ago. I don't know the exact year that they signed it, but it was just a few years ago, which means we've got the naming rights for the next 35 years or so, okay? Which is a huge deal. When you think about that level of expense, the fact that they're able to sign a 40-year deal tells you a lot about their financial strength, which I'll touch on a little bit more as well, by the way. But also, look, we get a lot of perks. You know what I mean? We get a lot of tickets. We have the Globe Life Suite, which seats like hundreds of people, which is pretty cool. I've been there before. Our people get to go there. In fact, obviously, there's no baseball right now, but we'll be at Globe Life Park this coming week. And I'll be speaking at like a leadership academy that the company's putting on for some of our middle level managers. And everybody's going to be able to go out onto the field and play wiffle ball. And they'll have like cocktails out there and food and all sorts of neat stuff. So just a lot of perks with some of these partnerships. No different than with the Cowboys, by the way. I've been to 2 Cowboy games since these partnerships. One was a playoff game, one was a regular game. And they give you all sorts of swag and everything else. And it says Globe Life right on there. And, again, we have a Globe Life suite and everything else. So just a lot of neat perks that we get through these partnerships. But these partnerships are a big deal, especially like for Dallas Cowboys, for instance. They only have a handful of partnerships that they're willing to do because they're very particular about who they make their partnerships with. And if you know anything about the Cowboys and the ownership and everything like that, then you know exactly what I mean. Lastly, I want to mention more of a local team, which is FC Dallas. It's a local soccer team. And the reason I bring this up, it's one of my favorite partnerships because we actually do a ton of philanthropic work with them. Obviously, soccer stadiums are pretty large. So one of the things that they do is we have like Paralympics and Special Olympics and things that we put on in partnership with this soccer team, oftentimes using their stadium. And it's just kind of a special and sort of a neat one for me. And I think it's pretty cool. So a little bit in regards to like American Income Life specifically. Our company, American Income Life, was founded back in 1951 by a man named Bernard Rappaport, and he's pictured in the right-hand corner of your screen there. And Bernard is to American Income Life what Steve Jobs is to Apple. So he's our guy, founded the company, borrowed $25,000 from his uncle to start the company. Later, when he sold the company to what's now known as Globe Life, sold it for a reported $564 million. So not a bad little return on that initial $25,000 investment. I'd love to see my investments make that kind of gains. But we're in all 50 states. I know it says 49 there, but in New York, we're known as National Income Life. Same exact company, but they have different laws and regulations in the state of New York. And anybody that's done business there, you know exactly what I mean there. But we're also in Canada, New Zealand. We're an international company with over $80 billion of in-force premiums and over 235 independent agencies scattered throughout all of these territories. Okay, so a little bit in regards to the growth that we've had as a company. This is, really about a 15-year snapshot now that we have the projections from 2022, which we should have the final numbers here really probably any day after all the audits. But a couple of things that I want to point out. Number one is that in the last 15 years, we've more than tripled in new sales, which is kind of crazy, to have that amount of growth in such a short period of time and not be like a startup company. This is a company that's been around for 70 years, and they still constantly were having double-digit growth years. When we don't have double-digit growth years, which this past year was not double-digit for the record, it's like alarming to us because we just expect to grow by no less than 10%. So that's a company that you want to sort of hitch your wagon to because we're always growing. We call it, this industry is known to be recession proof because no matter what's going on in the economy, companies in the financial services industries always continue to grow. Okay. So also, look, a lot of people have been interested in the financial services industry now more than ever before. And I think, quite frankly, the biggest reason for it is the fact that we, oftentimes, not everybody in the industry, but, we tend to have a lot of virtual positions available. We happen to be hiring for 100% work from home virtual positions. We get to do a little bit of fun travel here and there, on the company typically, which is nice, but we don't travel for work. I'm at my home right now. I'm not in an office. This is my home office, so it makes it nice. And it's definitely brought a lot of attention to the industry that we didn't have quite as much of in the past. So the reason I'm sharing this with you is because if you don't end up hiring with American Income Life, which we have dozens and dozens and dozens of people live on this call right now, we don't have the ability to hire this many people. If you end up with another company in the industry, just do yourself the favor and look up their financial rating through AM Best. AM Best is the oldest and most trusted financial services ratings company. They rate companies just like a report card, A to F. We have an excellent rating, which is an A rating through AM Best. And this is important because, again, this has to do with financial strength, our ability to follow through on the promises that we make to our clients, as well as making sure that on payday, you get a check and it cashes. It's the little stuff, obviously, that you want to make sure the company that you're going to be working with has nailed down. Okay, so a little bit in regards to the marketing. I'm hoping that you guys have already taken some notes, but if you haven't yet, definitely write down some good notes here. You may even end up having some questions on it. But we run on what's called a 4-step marketing process, or a 4-step invitation process. The first step of this process is that our public relations team, they meet with the executive members of local labor unions, credit unions, and associations. I mean, we work with police officers, firefighters, government employees, teachers, teamsters, pipe fitters, laborers, postal workers, auto workers, you name it, we work with them. Over 30,000 different local unions, groups, and associations. They sit down with the executive members of, let's say, I'll use the example, the Fraternal Order of Police. They would sit down with the president of the FOP, the vice president, secretary, treasurer, and everybody on the executive board. And American Income Life, our PR reps, would share with them what we do and the benefits that we provide. And if those members, if that executive board is interested in us starting this working relationship, then a handshake agreement is made. Okay, nobody's paying nobody, no contracts are signed. This is a handshake agreement saying, hey, we want you to work with us. The second part of this process is that a letter gets sent to all of the members that belong to that group, union, or association. So in the example that I'm using right now, if you were a police officer and you belong to the FOP, you would get a letter from your FOP, not from American Income Life. And pay close attention to this part, because this is, to me, really what the difference maker is for us when it comes to the leads that we procure. So you're a police officer, you get a letter from the FOP, and in that letter it says, "Dear valued member, your union, the Fraternal Order of Police, has entered into an agreement with American Income Life to handle all of our additional benefits. If you're interested in any of the below listed benefits, please just reply in the enclosed 3x5 card, and an American Income Life representative will contact you to set up a time to deliver and explain your benefits to you." Okay. So the third step of our marketing process is that union member that read the letter is going to do one of two things. They're either going to read the letter and throw it in the trash because they're not interested, which is fine. Okay. Or they're going to read the letter and they're going to say, you know what, sweetie, we just got married. We should probably look into this. Or we just bought our first house, or we just had our first kid, or whatever reason it may be that they're interested. They write down all of their personal information, their name, their address, their date of birth, who they want as the beneficiary for their policy, their date of birth, 2 contact phone numbers, an email address, how many children they have under the age of 18 living in the home. All their personal information gets sent back to us, requesting that one of us reaches out to them in regards to the options that they have available. Okay. So let me be very clear. We do zero prospecting. Okay. You're never going to cold call out of a phone book. You're not going to go door to door. You're not going to go business to business. You're not going to ask your friends and family to buy stuff from you. We don't do anything like that here. This is what separates us from everybody else in our industry. The fourth and final step is that our members simply respond to the union members that requested our services, and we set up a time to meet with them either in their home or virtually. We are allowed to visit with members in person. I'm just here to tell you, nobody chooses to do that out of our office. Everybody runs from their own home. It's super convenient. It's very efficient. And that's the way that we train because we have found a lot of success doing it that way. Quick little side note here, by the way. Last year in the year 2021, we were #1 agency in the entire company in our category. And we just found out in 2022, so this actual last year that just finished up, we finished again #1 in the entire company in our category, going back-to-back years. And due to that and the amount of growth that we've had, which has been double-digit growth year after year after year after year after year, okay, that's 4 years in a row, they've invited our agency to be on the executive council. So we actually sit on the board for the executive council for the company, which really it plays an important role because we help decide on the future of the company. They use that board of directors, if you will. It's called the executive council. They use that board of directors to help make those decisions. So it's an honor for us to sit on that board like we do. Okay. So next up, is, look, we could have the greatest marketing in the universe, and I'm biased, but I think we've got a pretty darn good one. However, if we didn't have the products, or in our case, the benefits to back it up, it wouldn't really matter a whole lot. So the next thing I want to cover with you guys is what the package of benefits would look like. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and scroll through all of it at once, and I'll walk you through it here. But the idea is that basically when we sit down with the member, what's happened is, the way that we explain it is that, like, you've got a different job offer, right? You can keep your current job making your normal $17 an hour, which comes out to $687 a week. Or if you're willing to set aside just 1 hour's wage, so instead of $687, you make $670, we'll provide all of these additional benefits to take care of your family, God forbid, when something happens to you. $30,000 would pay out when something happens to Joe, and another $30,000 would pay out when something happens to the spouse. $10,000 would pay out, God forbid, something were to happen to any one of the children they have, whether they have 2 kids or 16 kids, every single child would be covered for $10,000. Income protection. This is a huge one, because what I've found over the years is that typically when a child loses the main breadwinner, let's say dad is the main breadwinner in this scenario, the kids end up losing both of their parents because dad is physically gone, but now mom is forced to re-enter the work world when maybe she wasn't working outside of the home prior to that. And so mom's working all the time, probably working 2 jobs just to try to make up the difference of dad no longer being here. He had the tenure, he had the seniority, he maybe had some promotions. And since she's just now re-entering the work world, they're working 80 hours a week just to try to keep a roof over their head and food in the kids' bellies. So dad's gone, mom's gone all the time. They end up losing both their parents. So in this scenario, what happens is we keep the money coming in for the member every single month for up to 5 years. We replace that income to give the spouse a chance to breathe, whether it's Mary for Joe or Joe for Mary or whatever the situation may be. We keep that income coming in to buy them time to figure out what they're going to do and, to help make up the difference of that lost income. They could go to school for 4 years, take a year off, spend it with the kids, and still be financially, not having any kind of issues. Also, we pay the mortgage off completely. So imagine this. Joe passed away. That's the main breadwinner in this scenario. Mary still has his paycheck coming in every single week, every single month. But the biggest bill she has, which is the mortgage, she doesn't even need to pay anymore because we paid it off. So now she's got extra money going into the bank every single month for savings. On top of that, we have a college education fund, and this pays out up to $100,000 per child. And my favorite part personally of this is that it doesn't have to be used for college. It could go towards starting their own business, the purchase of a home, a car, trade school, anything they want to do with that money. It's just a way for the parents to pass along a legacy to their children of prosperity instead of poverty, which is typically the case, certainly, with myself included, with my own parents. Last but not least, all policies, all programs that we sell come with a slew of bonus features, including that they're all permanent and portable, meaning that if they were to quit, get fired, or retire from their job, so in other words, they're no longer with the union or no longer working at that career, they keep these benefits, which is not how benefits usually work. Most of you guys on this call probably had great benefits through your employer, a past employer, but since you no longer work there, obviously you no longer have the benefits. Well, these benefits all stay with the members. They completely own and control them. They're also all layoff and strike waivered, which means if they get laid off or go on strike, we waive the premium so they don't have to make any payments until they start up at work again. Also, of course, plans are available for both wage earners more often than not anymore these days. Obviously, oftentimes both spouses are working. So again, we do have coverage available for both wage earners in those scenarios. Okay. So the next question that just popped up says, is your family worth 1 hour per week? You set aside $17 a week to have all of these benefits in place. It's a no-brainer. So my question for you, which is rhetorical at the moment, is, how would you perform if you gave 10 presentations in a week? Now, these aren't 10 random people. These are 10 people that got a letter in the mail and expressed interest in the benefits, sent back all their personal information requesting to be contacted. If you presented to 10 people that requested the information, how do you think you would do? So I'm going to launch a poll here real quick for everybody on this call. So if you could go ahead and start answering. Do you think 8 to 10 people would enroll? Do you think only 5 to 7 people would enroll? Or do you think it's more like 4 or less that would enroll? And I'll let you know all the percentages. But right now, it looks like we're only at about 40% participation. Okay, all right, we're starting to fly up there. We're getting better. I'm hoping for 100% participation, but that's on you guys. I'll let it go a couple more seconds. We're at 87%. We're only missing a handful of people. All right, it looks like we're slowing down. We got some people. Oh, now it's going up a little bit. All right, here we are so far. So 45% of you said 8 to 10, 41% of you said 5 to 7, and just 13% of you, actually it just changed, 48% 8 to 10, 40%, I just stopped the poll, 40% 5 to 7, and only 13% said 4 or less, okay? So I appreciate you guys, being involved here with me. The next thing that I want to cover with you is really 2 parts. It's both compensation as well as expectations. And for us, the 2 go, hand in hand. Our expectation, if we bring you on board, is that you see no less than 10 families per week. That's why I asked you that question. Now, the good news is you're allowed to see more than 10 families per week. And you might think, why the heck is that good news? If you just tell me I could work more. Well, you'll find out very quickly why that's such good news, okay? But what we know is somebody brand new in the industry. You've got no experience in our industry. You've got no experience with sales or customer service. You could be straight out of high school, straight out of college. It doesn't matter. We know the bare minimum is that you're going to get at least 3 people out of 10 to enroll. Now, our numbers as an agency are significantly higher than that. In fact, we're typically just a hair under 50%. We sort of float around somewhere between 47, 49%. Those are our typical weeks. So nearly 50%. So half the people that we present to as an agency are enrolling into the benefits. So when I show you 3, I mean, that is a really low number, but I'd rather you be pleasantly surprised when you see how much you actually end up earning, because the next thing I want to show you is based on the number of enrollments dictates how much you're going to earn. So this is the beautiful part. This is why I said it's exciting that you're allowed to see more than 10. If you just see 10, and let's say you only enroll 3 out of 10, you're looking at $65,000 a year. But let's say that you only enroll 3 out of 10, but you want to make more money. Like when I was in healthcare, I was a nurse 15 years ago before I started at American Income Life. I picked up every overtime shift that was available. Anytime somebody wanted me to pick up a shift, anytime the administration asked if I wanted to work overtime, I always raised my hand and said yes, because I was always trying to earn an extra dollar, right? Well, here, you don't ever have to ask to work more. If you want to earn more money that week, simply see more people. I'll do easy math with you. Instead of enrolling 3 people out of 10, see 20 people, you'll enroll 6. Well, if you enroll 6, instead of making $1,200 for the week, you'll make $2,700 for the week. If you enrolled 6 every single week as an average, you're looking at $141,000 a year. Now, I realize for some of you guys, these numbers might seem kind of crazy. For some of you, it might not be that impressive. I don't know what your current rates are. But the next thing I want to show you is this is 2021, because again, today is January 25th. It just so happens. So, we don't have the official data from 2022 yet, but these numbers are only going to grow. This is the number of people at American Income Life that earned over 100,000, over 200,000, over 500,000, over $1 million. 59 people at American Income Life in 2021 earned over $1 million. 1,047 earned over $100,000 for the year. So when I show you those numbers, this isn't like make believe, like these are realities. Now, does everybody make 100 grand? No, absolutely not. But when there's that many people earning that level of income, it is clearly more than possible to do yourself. Now, I'll tell you, that's upfront money that we're talking about. However, the number one reason people get in the financial services industry is for what's known as residual income, okay? The best way that I can compare this is sort of like royalties with musicians and actors and actresses, right? So, Elvis Presley still makes millions of dollars every single year. He's no longer living, but that pays to his estate, and his estate still makes millions of dollars a year from recordings he did dozens and dozens of years ago. Okay. So with American Income Life, the minimum that you receive is 3% of every dollar. So for easy math, let's say that you sign a client up and they're paying $100 per month to have the whole program in place, which that's a little above average of the numbers that I just went over with you. But again, we're trying to keep it easy math. So if they're spending $100 per month, every single month that they pay their premium, you get $3. And you might think $3, that's not that much, but don't forget, you enrolled a handful of people that week, which means you enrolled dozens of people for the month, which means you enroll hundreds or more per year. Well, I've been with the company for 15 years. So every single person that I've enrolled back in 2007, I still get paid for today. All the people I enrolled back in 2008, I continue to receive money from today. 2009, 2010, 2011, I don't have to continue, but they all continue to pay me every single month. And that's the beautiful part of our business. So this is not unique to American Income Life. Let me be very clear. It's unique to the industry. And I feel like this is oftentimes where I lose a lot of people. So what I always recommend is if you're like, I don't know, this sounds kind of fishy, or this sounds a little too good to be true, or whatever, which I get it. I've been in your shoes, albeit 15 years ago. But if you call your guy from Allstate who handles your car insurance, ask him if it works the same way. Ask the woman that handles your homeowner's insurance through State Farm if she gets paid every single month that you make your premium. The answer is yes. That's why they send you a Christmas card or a birthday card. They want to keep your business because that's how they continue to earn money, through that book of business. Well, we get paid a lot of money on the upfront, but also get paid all that money on the back end as well through the form of residual income. What separates us from all the other companies in our industry are the bottom two things in bold. Number one is we have what's called a 10-year vesting schedule. Vesting is another word for ownership. So if you're here for 4 years and you leave, you own 40%. If you're here for 8 years and you decide to leave, you own 80%. But at 10 years, two things happen. Number one, of course, you own 100%. But number two, they become lifetime renewals. And the most exciting part about this is it's not for your lifetime. It's for the lifetime of your clientele. So what that means is that when I die, my wife will continue to receive the residual income that I've been building for the last 15 years. And when one day my wife passes away, my children will continue to receive the residual income of what I've built over the last 15 years. And once again, this is an opportunity for us to pass along a legacy to our own families, all while protecting the legacy of our clientele. Okay. Also, we all get a slew of benefits through the OPEIU Local 277. You're welcome to take a picture of this screen so that you can kind of review it a little bit. If you have any questions on these particulars, we will be covering it in better detail in the final interview for those of you that we decide to bring in. But for the sake of time, I'm gonna leave it pictured up here one more time so you can take a picture, jot down a couple of notes real quick. But outside of that, I'm gonna move on just because I want to try to keep it short for you guys. Okay. Next thing that I want to cover is advancement. Okay. This is a really big reason that you're on this call. We are not looking to add to the team. We're looking to multiply the team. The reason that we've grown year over year over year over year, double digits. In fact, we've averaged since the inception of the Holtz Agency, we've averaged 14% over all those years, every single year, an average of 14% since we started. There's a reason for it. And that's because we look to hire on leaders, right? Not followers. Now, in order to be a good leader, you have to start by being a good follower, right? You got to learn how to do it before you can show how to do it. So everybody starts as an individual producer for that very reason. You can't teach what you don't know, right? Once you've proven yourself, you have the ability to move up to a supervising agent. This can happen as little as 3 to 6 months. You're still doing the exact same job. However, you're duplicating yourself into somebody else to make sure that they can also have the success that you've had up to that point. From there, our middle level management position is our general agents. These are the people that this coming week are going to be going to Dallas, Texas for the Leadership Academy that I told you I'll be speaking at. And we'll get to go to Globe Life Stadium. Okay, that's the position, are the general agents within our organization. Okay. This position is probably the hardest position. And the reason I say that is because you have the responsibilities of that position. However, we're also training you for the next position. And that next position is more of like a general manager type role, like a GM, right? So you're wearing a lot of hats. You're overseeing all of the operations within that organization. But we don't want to train you on the job. We want to prepare you prior to getting the promotion. So that general agent position I just went over with you, we really want you to only live there for a short while, just enough to get trained up to be successful in your next promotion, which is as what we call a master general agent. But again, I liken it to a GM. The last one is like a regional general manager, an RGM, or in our case, an RGA, regional general agent, which it sounds just like you would think. You're overseeing multiple quote unquote GMs within your hierarchy, making sure that all locations, again, we work virtually, so there's no physical locations, although we do actually have a couple physical locations, you just wouldn't work out of them. Although I guess you could if you wanted, we're in Cincinnati, by the way, and we're in Michigan and Farmington Hills. So you're welcome to come to an office if you wanted to, but again, everybody chooses to work from home. Lastly, I want to cover culture, because to me, that and leadership and moving up and, building a career, they go hand in hand. Culture can make or break an organization. We see it in churches, we see it in sports teams all the time. Super talented athletes that ruin the culture on a team by being negative. We are very particular about our culture and who we bring on. Thankfully, the company also helps in a lot of areas with culture, including some of the things I was talking about, going to Globe Life Stadium, the Dallas Cowboys, all this kind of stuff. But also every single year, they put on all sorts of different contests, including the biggest one, which is our annual convention. This isn't a contest. Everybody just has the opportunity to qualify, no matter what position you're in. Doesn't matter what level you're in, everybody has the opportunity to qualify for convention. Well, convention is typically about 4 days long. You come in on Monday, you leave on Thursday kind of deal. It's usually over a weekend though, I believe. I don't know, it's different all the time, I guess. But this last year we were in Las Vegas. We stayed at Caesar's Palace. This coming year, which will be in May, we're going to be in Cancun. But this year, in the year 2023, we're qualifying for 2024's convention, which is going to be in Hawaii. By the way, I've never been to Hawaii. The company last did a convention there in 2000. Actually, I'm sorry, in the year 2000, if I'm not mistaken. So 23 years ago, or maybe 2001, something like that. But it is a huge deal. Last year, we had over 3,500 people go to convention. So it's not like a couple people get to go. Thousands of people go. And it's not just you, it's you and a guest. It's all paid for. Your flights there, your flights back, your hotel, your food, your booze, your drinks. We have a lot of entertainment at these places. It is just 5-star all the way. And I really mean that. We're talking filet mignons and lobster tails. It's, about as nice as you could possibly get. And the coolest part, though, is you get an opportunity to meet people from across the company, from across the globe, that are doing really exciting things, and you get to rub shoulders with them and learn from them and find out some of the tips and tricks that are making them successful and share those things with others, which is just, really the camaraderie is the greatest part about it for sure. Okay. Now, look, we have a lot of fun, and that's important. There's no doubt about it. But I think the most important thing, at least for me, is what we do with the opportunity that we have, how we're able to try to help others through the influence that we've been given. So, one thing that's really neat is our founder, Bernard Rappaport, he always used to say, if you work in a community and you're taking from that community in any way in business, you should consistently be giving back to that very same community. So everybody has been doing this for years and years because Bernard was such a philanthropist himself. So it was a part of our culture, right? But in the year 2012, they decided to create like an umbrella organization, which is the Make Tomorrow Better program, which you see pictured on your screen. And what's neat, what I love this so much, is everywhere we go, our goal is we want to leave that place a little bit better off than before we got there. So if we go on a fancy trip, when we go to convention, Hawaii, when I'm going to Dallas, I leave the Sunday for Dallas, whatever it may be, we're gonna donate our time and our money. So not just the money, but also the time. So those bicycles, I was there for that event, and I helped put together the bicycles. And there was hundreds of bikes, and then they let all these kids in there, and all the kids ran to whatever bike they wanted, and they got to take them home. and we had box trucks that delivered these bikes into the neighborhoods for the kids. These are kids that have never had a bike before in their life. So not only did we buy the bikes, but we put the bikes together. So it's time and money that we put in. We've done houses for humanity. We put bags together for kids for school years. We just recently built, I think, like 3,000 sandwiches. I know this sounds hysterical, but it's a really neat program. They deliver it out to people in need that need food right now, fresh food in their stomachs. So just a lot of really neat things that we've been able to do for the years. And it's quite frankly, my favorite part about being with American Income Life are the different things that we get to do with philanthropy and the lives that we're able to hopefully help touch, for sure. So finishing up with these last couple slides. I got 2 slides left, so just hang in there with me, okay? First off, this is sort of where the rubber meets the road. In order to work for American Income Life, you do have to be able to hold a professional certification. Super easy to obtain your license. It's probably, there is an exam, but it's like the easiest exam in the world. We've had people get through the coursework in 3 days, and 90%, maybe a little under that, but about 90% of the people that go through the coursework, they pass the exam on their very first time. It's quite frankly known as the easiest exam to pass, sorry about that. But in order to have the professional certification, you do need to be able to pass a background check, both a BCI and an FBI background check. If you have something on your background, just be sure to share it with whoever your hiring manager is. Some things you might think are an issue might not be an issue, but some things you think are not going to be an issue could potentially be an issue in our line of work. So no matter what it is, just bring it up and we'll let you know if it's something that would prohibit you from obtaining a license in your state or not. Because all of the licenses are state specific. So if you live in Texas, you'll get a Texas department. If you're in Ohio, you'll get an Ohio department. If you get Indiana, whatever, you get the point, right? It would be a license in your resident state. We have multiple people on this call from different states, time zones, you name it. So we're not going to, cover those details on this call. But once again, in a final interview, we'll cover that with you. The one thing that I know is the same for everybody is the cost of the coursework is $50, okay? It's $50 coursework. It's actually a $200 course, but we're allowed to pay for 75% of it. I wish we could pay for 100. It's just simply not how, no, I'm sorry. It's a $99 coursework. Excuse me, I apologize. I forgot they just changed it here recently. So it's a $99 coursework. They increased it, my apologies. So we're able to pay for half, we pay for half. That $99 you have to pay. However, after your first week of training, you will be reimbursed for that and anything else, any other expenses that you may have had throughout that licensing process. We're just not able to do it on the upfront. So it's $99 for the coursework. For the record, I was a nurse before this. I couldn't get a single textbook for $99, let alone my entire license. It cost me thousands of dollars. You have to have a smartphone, a laptop, and really strong internet. However, if you're on this call right now, you've probably got everything you need in order to be successful already there. Training is 2 weeks long. The most common question I get asked is, do we get paid during training? The answer is yes. And then ultimately, you absolutely positively have to have an entrepreneurial attitude now more than ever because we work from home. You see, you have to be extremely self-motivated, goal-oriented, and most importantly, disciplined to have the success that you want to have within this organization. Nobody is going to be, you're not in an office. Nobody's going to be standing over your back, yelling at you, telling you to get back to work. You either choose to be successful or you choose not to be successful. You either put in the work and get paid or don't get in the work and don't get paid what you're hoping to get paid, right? So the good thing is you're not by yourself. We still work together. You still have colleagues. You're still going to build relationships. You're not like all alone by yourself. Working from home, you're still going to be able to create really strong relationships. And we have events where we get people together, no matter where you're at. We have events where you're able to come together, even just within the Holtz agency, so you can see in person your colleagues and get to know them on that level as well. Okay, I'm going to skip this slide because I'm going to actually cover it in this last slide here. So you've made it this far. Don't leave just yet. When you do click leave meeting, which is not right now, but when you do click leave meeting, Zoom should automatically prompt you to complete a survey. I say should because depending on the device that you're on, it might not populate it. If that's the case, just go to your email and we'll be sending out an email to everybody on this call tonight. We just ask that you reply to that email answering the questions from the survey. But again, if it's done over Zoom, all you got to do is click submit after you've completed the questionnaire. Two things. We ask that you complete that survey in the next 15 minutes. Second thing is that I want you to text our executive assistant. His name is Mike Rogers. As soon as you completed the survey, you can text him at 513-470-8443. So if you're on your cell phone, you can either screenshot this, or if you're on the computer, you can use your cell phone to take a picture of it real quick. Again, you're going to text Mike Rogers, and all you're going to text him is your first and last name, survey complete. So my text message would only say Kevin Holtz, survey complete. And this may seem silly, but the important thing is that once you've completed your survey and he receives that text message, he's going to grab your resume or maybe the profile that you filled out online, or he's going to pull up your LinkedIn profile, whatever it is, any and all information we have, he's going to match that up with the survey. He organizes everything for us. And tomorrow we'll be calling anybody that we want to invite back in for a final interview. First thing tomorrow morning, we'll meet as a leadership team. We'll be reviewing these profiles, the questionnaires, the resumes, everything we have, and we'll be deciding who we want to invite back. If we call you to invite you back, you will hear from us by 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. Right now, Eastern Standard Time, it's 7:42. So depending on what time zone you're in, obviously you'll have to adjust accordingly, but you will hear from us by 4 p.m. tomorrow if we want to bring you back in for a final interview. If we don't call you by 4 p.m., we still love you. We still wish you the best of luck. Unfortunately, as I mentioned earlier, we don't have the ability to hire in for that many positions, but I appreciate everybody's time. I really, truly do. I wish everybody the best of luck in your career search, and I look forward to meeting a few of you guys here soon. Thanks again. Bye-bye.